Hello and welcome everybody. It's David Bell and Nick Luby here, and we're here for a special edition of the Chatbox production. Well, it's not our breakfast show, but it's a kind of one of our special edition breakfast shows where we've got some amazing guests joining us in the studio this morning, and we're talking about something that's coming up on the 3rd of October called the Neurogether Conference. Now, this is super exciting. If you want to know more about neurodiversity, if you want to learn more and listen to some great speakers, then do watch this introduction, because you're going to be hearing from our speakers what they're going to be talking about and why it is important that you sign up and join us on the 3rd of October in Cambridge. Nick, exciting times, some great guests coming up now.
Always exciting. You know how I love a conversation, and there's nothing better than having a conversation with fascinating people. And then it turns out they've got massive value to add as well. So yeah, let's get stuck in. Let's find out who these amazing people are, and let's get these conversations flowing.
Absolutely. Well, I think we should start with our organizer, our host, and the founder of Neurogether. I think it's important we start with the person that's taken the time to create this. So please welcome Dr. Utkarsh Gupta. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, David. Good morning, Nick.
Great to have you here, Utkarsh. Let's talk a little bit about the Neurogether Conference that's coming up on the 3rd of October. Exciting. This has been in the planning now for months and months and months. But tell us a little bit about the conference, what it is, what it's intended to do, and who should be there and coming along in a week's time.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you, both of you, for having me here and giving the platform to actually talk about the projects that we are working on. So essentially, to start with, Neurogether is a platform that we are creating to connect or bridge the gap between academicians, clinicians, the general population who are interested in brain sciences. And to be fair, any related neuroscientific fields that you could think of, we want to bridge that gap. And of course, because neuroscience entails quite a lot of fields, like you could talk about neurosurgery, you could talk about cognitive neuroscience, you could talk about neurodiversity, or different other clinical aspects. But then there's not a single platform that actually connects all these fields. So what we did was essentially we created the digital platform. But in addition to the digital platform, we're also organizing the conference that we're going to talk about today. And in the conference, as our first attempt to bridge the gap between this community, is to talk about neuroscience, its aspects, and also how we could potentially link this with entrepreneurship and industry. Because like every time I would have a conversation with someone, there'd always come this challenge that, right, there's amazing research going on, but how do we convey and relate this into, or I'll translate this into product that could be provided to consumers? So because me as a neuroscientist as well, I've always found this gap, and like all the people that I've had conversation with, they always find this gap. And we decided that we're going to take matters to our hand and have this conference as a platform where we could start or initiate this bridging, and hence Neurogether Conference. So when we talk about who are invited for the conference, so it would be anyone with interest in the research area of neuroscience, the clinical area of neuroscience, or from industry. So if there are any businesses who are interested to see how a neuroscientific idea can be translated into something in the industry, or even when we talk about within the industry and academic clinical fields, how neurodiversity, since it's again in the neuro realm, how neurodiversity can be included and made use of. And then also about like the neuroscience of entrepreneurial mindset itself. We later listen and hear Professor Barrell talk about that as well. So we're sort of entailing quite a lot of aspects of how this bridging can be made. So yeah.
Sounds phenomenal, right? I'm trying to get my head around everything that's going on, so that the platform to bridge that gap and join up all of those dots in what sounds like a very, very kind of diverse scientific area, and a conference to bring kind of like-minded people together to kind of explore in more depth of where the value is, where it's going, how do we turn this into an entrepreneurial endeavor. It sounds absolutely fascinating. And you've got some amazing speakers to turn up as well to share their knowledge and add even more value to the conference. Very excited about this.
To what I just said, like, I would also like to add that within the conference, apart from the 3 keynote talks, we've also got a fireside chat in which we would be listening and listen them discuss various challenges and how to overcome them. And this would include investors, academicians, clinicians themselves, and then like a live discussion of overcoming these gaps. And to end the conference, we would have a pitch competition from where we would have pitches, lots of neuroscientific ideas being pitched to investors and us supporting them with this opportunity, as well as quite a lot of in-kind rewards as well. So we're really looking forward to that, to provide as well.
And of course, you have myself and Nick there hosting the conference, yes. Comparing, keeping everything hopefully on time, and keeping the level of anticipation and fun at its highest level possible as we bring on our speakers who are going to talk about some fantastic and fascinating subjects. Now, before we bring our speakers on and find out a little bit more about who they are and what they're going to be talking about, or giving us a kind of an overview of their topic of discussion, tell us how people can find out more about the conference. I know they can go to the websites. Is that the best place for them to go, to register, to find out, to reach out and book their places?
So the registration is based on the Eventbrite page that we have created. However, the link to the Eventbrite page is there on Neurogether as well. The best place would definitely be to go to Neurogether, avail the conference from there, but also like have the opportunity to get connected with like-minded people on the platform as well. So this could potentially be a start for them to kind of explore this platform that we are trying to build, and hopefully in due time we would see it flourish.
So Neurogether.com is the place to go to find out more, which will then take you to the registration page on Eventbrite where you can book your tickets. Now, just to be clear, this is a free conference as well, so there's no cost involved. People can register and come along, or is there a charge to it? How does that work?
So there's definitely a charge. There's a very minimalistic charge that we have put for this conference just so that we could adhere to the commitment value. So we've got 4 sort of tickets where there are ticket options for students, whereas ticket options for non-students. So this could include anyone from staff member, industry, or anyone really. However, like if you're already a Neurogether users, then you also get a little bit of discount on these tickets.
So small cost for the tickets for a day of education, entertainment, and fun. Should we meet our speakers? I think it's really important because they're the ones that are going to be talking and providing lots of the content. So let's bring them all on. Let's bring them all on here together. Please welcome to the show this morning, Sarah, Alan, and Roger. Good morning to you all. Let's just shuffle them around like that. Welcome to the 3 of you. 3 great speakers. Going to be great fun. But let's find out who you are. Let's start with Alan in the middle. Alan, tell us who you are and what you're going to be talking about at the conference.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm very pleased to be involved with this wonderful initiative. I am not a neuroscientist, although I am a graduate bioscientist. I was a bioscientist working in the NHS and research years ago, but most of my life has been spent in and around business. Businesses small, businesses large, businesses international. I've been very privileged to meet many people in my life, and I've been pretty well most places in the world that I wanted to go, and I'm still going there, or at least I was until the pandemic. And I'm particularly interested in the way people relate to each other. I'm a great supporter of entrepreneurship, and I'll be talking at the conference about my interests in understanding a little bit better myself what entrepreneurship really is, because we throw out these words and, you know, they mean different things to different people. In my life, what I've discovered is that it isn't the science and the technology alone. It isn't the wonderful industrial activity. It's very much to do, whether you succeed or fail, with the way people relate to each other. And I'm very interested in relational thinking. And I'm very interested in the entrepreneurial mind and the mindset of the entrepreneur. And I'll tell at the conference what I think entrepreneurship is, and what it is from my definition, and why I think it's important, why I think it's far beyond the scale of just starting a business and making money. It's a way of thinking, and it's a way of living, and it's a way people relate together. So I shall be talking about entrepreneurs. I've got some really brilliant case studies of really entrepreneurial people that might surprise some of those watching, because they won't have thought of them as entrepreneurs. And I then want to talk about entrepreneurial activity in teams and entrepreneurial activity in society and in general, and how it makes such a big difference to the way things can happen. I mean, a great example is the Cambridge innovation ecosystem. That's really all about how people have joined up and know how to work together. And I'm very interested. I'm going to pose some questions to the neuroscientists to tell me more about how they think this is happening, why it's happening, and what the brain's really doing, because that's not my business. Mine is an observational talk about the things I've seen happen, which I think are entrepreneurship. And I'd love the neuroscientists to tell me they're finding out more about how that works, so we can do more in our future education to enable more people to become successful entrepreneurs. So that's enough from me.
It's gonna be phenomenal, isn't it? Conference already, or a conference like no other. Right? Just how innovative does this sound? I think, David, you and I might be out of our depth, but we've got the easy job. We've just got to facilitate the amazing brains and conversations. Thank you very much, Alan. That's one not to be missed for sure. Sarah, how do you follow that? Who are you? What would you be talking about?
I am a communication practitioner. So my job is to help people speak with confidence and deliver their messages confidently and clearly. And I like to think with ease, as opposed to huge amounts of stress. So I work with people all over the world. I work with individuals. I train organizations. I give masterclasses to people. And I work in all sectors, which is lovely because, of course, communication affects all of us in terms of landing our messages, whether we're entrepreneurs or indeed neuroscientists. Now, I am not pertaining by any means to be a neuroscientist, but I do use elements of understanding how our brain works within my work, as to understanding how our body is functioning, how we're coming across to other people, how we're making them feel. And most importantly, in terms of communication, is that body-brain connection allowing our messages to actually land, or are we just contributing a whole load of noise into the space, which is not necessarily entirely useful all the time. I'm also coming to this from the place of neurodiversity. So I am neurodiverse. I've known I was dyslexic since I did my master's, when I was I didn't discover that till I was 30 and doing my master's. And then very recently, I have finally been officially diagnosed with ADHD, which is a huge relief because I've been convinced for a very long period of time. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit about how within entrepreneurship, neurodiverse people are prevalent. I think entrepreneurship lends itself to that neurodiverse thinking. And I'd go even further and say that actually all neurodiverse people are entrepreneurs, because we've been navigating a world that is veered towards neurotypicals since childhood. So kind of making the education system work, or try to work for us, or navigating our way through finding work and careers and families. So I'll be talking a little bit about that. I will also be shoehorning in a little bit of communication training, just because I can't bear not to. But I'm doing this with the idea that neuroscientists, academics, we all need to be talking to each other and landing our messages clearly. And this is the way that we get this information moving forward and make the world a better place.
Wow. This is getting more and more exciting, and we haven't heard from Roger yet. So we've got entrepreneurship and enterprise, communication, being able to speak and present better, learning about neurodiversity from someone that, didn't find out until they're into their early 30s that they were neurodivergent. It's going to be amazing, these stories and everything to come. Roger, yourself, what are you going to be talking about? Tell us a little bit about who you are as well.
Yeah, well, thanks very much. So I'm a consultant neurologist, so I spend half of my life dealing with people in the NHS, particularly around diseases of the brain. Two conditions: Parkinson's disease, named after James Parkinson in 1817, and Huntington's disease, which has nothing to do with Huntingdon, the village or the town, which most people think it is. It's after George Huntington. So these are diseases of the brain. And the other half of my life, I'm the professor of clinical neuroscience here at Cambridge University, and my work has been around trying to understand how these conditions present in different ways, what causes the problems with it. And I suppose relevant for our discussion today is how we can better treat them. So my main area of interest has been, can we basically repair the brain? So the idea, and probably the area which has been developed most by us, is with my colleagues in Sweden, to try and actually put back things which are missing in diseases. So in Parkinson's disease, you lose a critical population of nerve cells. You just replace them. That's the simple idea. And that's been going on for about 40 years. And it's now really caught fire in the last 5 or 10 years. So the idea is to transplant in stem cell derived nerve cells, which are missing, to replace those which are not there. By so doing, repair the problem and put that aspect of the disease back to normal. So this has been an interesting journey, because obviously I'm not an entrepreneur, although I have recently been involved in setting up a company to advise people on how best to do regenerative medicine, repairing systems in the brain, regardless of disease. But it has been an interesting exercise in starting with an idea, working through, and then realizing at some point, in order for this to become a reality for patients, you can't just sit in your academic institution and allow it to happen. You have to actually get out there and get support. So in my particular field, we've had companies that have come to us to help us plan trials about repairing the brain. And we've also gone off and talked to people about our cell therapies, which has ignited a whole field. So this has become big business. So I would think cell therapies, when I did my last trial with it, when we started it, with world investment in cell therapies for repairing the brain was probably about $0 or pounds. I mean, they're all the same these days, pounds, euros, or dollars. Those seem to be 1 to 1. Whereas, you know, now it's billions in the last 5 years. So it's an exciting time. And so, you know, part of the journey for me has been trying to understand what industry wants out of it in a language which I don't necessarily understand. And what I can deliver from an academic point of view, and trying to make sure that we get the best ultimately for the patient, so we can deliver something that makes a difference and will make a difference and is commercially viable. So that's me, really. So slightly different from my colleagues here.
As we were told at the beginning, a diverse collection of guests and speakers for a conference that is really addressing a very diverse range of kind of neuro issues or neuro challenges or neuro advantages. Even what a conference! What a group you've put together. Yeah, so what do we do next? All right. So if you haven't got a ticket yet, okay, we go to the website and we sign up to the Eventbrite page and get ourselves a ticket. Are there many tickets left? How's it looking?
Yeah, we've still got a few tickets left, so come grab them while you can.
Come and meet the amazing speakers. Come and meet Nick and I as well, and of course, Utkarsh, come and listen to the pitches that people are going to be pitching for real money and real opportunity. And you've got a number of people going to be pitching. And what's also really interesting, this is a global event as well. This is not just focused around Cambridge or the UK. You've got entries from Nigeria. There's people kind of entering from different walks of backgrounds, different cultures, different lifestyles. Tell us a little bit more about what these pitches are going to achieve. And are you going to then be able to marry those up and support them going forwards as well, or is it just about pitch and get the money?
Yeah, absolutely. So just following up on what Roger said, like, we are there working in the labs and in our academic realm, but how do we make that a reality is what we are working on during this conference. So the idea of not having a poster presentation, a scientific poster presentation, but rather a pitch competition where we could provide the opportunity for entrepreneurs to make their idea into a reality is what we wanted to achieve. And then once we started advertising, then we got interest from, like you said, Nigeria. But we've also got interest from Jerusalem. We've got interest from Latvia, the people from India who were interested. So you could see that there is this global need of connection and the providing of opportunity as well, because I think there are lots of people doing similar work across the world, and having those synergies facilitated is what we should aim at the moment. And through the pitches, we would be like, just a little sneak peek. So the pitches that would be participating during the conference, they would be ranging from providing mental health support to having a proper business idea regarding a product creation, such as like something in the neuro field. I'm not going to disclose too much else if they steal the thunder on the day itself.
Come along and see it live in action. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think I've got such good response and reviews from people within this ecosystem who really wants to get an opportunity, because when we talk about pitches and entrepreneurship, there's quite a lot of support, but it is very generic. But when it comes to niche support for neuroscientific ideas and related neuro fields, there's not a single platform that is providing that. And I think like coming from that same community, I think if I can provide that along with the help of esteemed colleagues and collaborators, so why not? Absolutely, we'll go for it. Yeah.
Well, it sounds phenomenal. If neuroscience is your thing, if entrepreneurship is your thing, if you want to learn about mindset, about where science is heading, about communication, what's not to like? And to cap it all, David, you and I will be doing our very best to kind of host and facilitate. I'm very, very excited. So it's October the 3rd, so don't dilly-dally. Get on the Neurogether website, grab your Eventbrite tickets, sign up, come along to Cambridge, join the mix, and get those conversations flowing.
That's it. Thank you very much.
We would be there. So I was just saying that, and I will be there to welcome you personally as well. So
yeah, no. We look forward to it. Thank you very much, Roger, Alan, and Sarah, joining us this morning. Thank you, Karsha, as well. We look forward to seeing you on the 3rd of October. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye now.
Take care, guys.